Okay, it's that time of the year again. It's Black Friday, and I'm just going to take you through some of the plugins that I think you should get if you haven't got them already. Stuff that I have been using for a long time and stuff that I just continue to use. I bought hundreds of plugins and a lot of them sit there and never get touched. But yeah, these ones I think are definite musts. If you can afford to get them while they're on sale, I think you should get them. I'm also going to show you the only plugin that I actually bought, which I've been testing for a couple of days and I really love, as well as some of the products that I'm selling myself on Basic Waves. So let's start with Basic Waves. We've launched a new website if you haven't seen it yet, and with that we launched a few more products. We've got 4 new products, so I'm just quickly going to tell you about those. And the first product that we are looking at is Analog Explorations for Diva. So this is a Diva preset pack, basically just built to really show off the analog nature of Diva. Got lots of like noise, grit, modulation, dirt. And we've got a bunch of ARPs, bass sounds, leads, pads. We've even got MIDI files and web samples to go with it. You can come and check out some of the sounds here. And then, yeah, the next product that we have here is Organic House Essentials, and this one's been flying off the shelves. Basically just a pack covering all the typical organic sounds with a big focus on the drums, because the drums are really like the hard part about Organic House, in my opinion. So we worked with a producer named Shree. He's a really good Organic House producer, and he made 50 full drum loops, which got broken down into their respective stems. So you've got separated stems for like percussion, claps, hi-hats, shakers, everything. I think that's where the real power lies. We've also got like ambiences and vocal atmospheres and a bunch of other stuff in there. But again, you can come and check out some of the drums and stuff over here. And we've also got some cool like ambient sounds. Okay, and then lastly we got 2 new courses. One is arrangement for melodic house and techno. So if you're struggling with arrangement, you struggle to get out of the loop and make full arrangements, this one's for you. Kind of like a beginner course, although I think anybody who struggles with arrangement could learn the process that we teach in here, which is basically going from loop to full arrangement using other songs as a template. So yeah, in this course we kind of break down and analyze 4 big songs from artists like Rufus Du Sol kind of music. Who else have we got? Yotto and Camel Fat. So we break those down, then we create these arrangement templates which you can download yourself, and yeah, using this method I think is pretty can lead to very consistently being able to make compelling arrangements. All right, then the last course is Basic Music Theory for electronic music producers. I made this because I know that a lot of my audience are also beginner producers, so if you are kind of coming into this without knowing any music theory, this course was designed for that. We go over like initial concepts like learning the piano roll, half and whole semitones, then we go into scales, chords, and all the different types of things like triads, intervals, as well as analyzing some common chord progressions, inversions, voice leading, then melody writing, methods to write melodies, rhythm and note lengths, and then slightly more advanced concepts like modes and complex chords. Okay, so now that we've got just all of the basic wave stuff out of the way, let's get into the plugins. So the first plugin bundle that I'm going to recommend here is the Fabfilter Total Bundle. I use Fabfilter in every single project, whether it's the Pro Q, probably my most used plugin. I don't really use R2. I do use Pro MB quite a lot, and Pro L2. So you got your multiband compressor here. The Pro Q is the EQ, and then the L2, I use that a lot in every project. That's the limiter. I don't really use it as a mastering limiter. I more use it on individual channels and also as a visualizer. It visualizes waveforms really nicely. I also use Pro C2 a lot. That's just their like standard compressor. I use it actually in my videos to kind of level my voice when I talk. Yeah, and then you got a bunch of other stuff in there. Saturn is one that I also use a lot. That's a multi-band saturation plugin. It also goes quite a bit further than just being multi-band saturation. It's got lots of modulation and effects and LFOs and cool things going on in there. You can kind of just dive through presets and stumble upon really cool things. And then the rest of them I don't really use too much, but I'm sure you could get really cool results out of them. The next bundle I'm going to recommend here is Shaperbox 3. So I use Shaperbox mostly for sidechain, but there have been a few times where I've dived into Shaperbox and just gone through all of the presets, because you know there's so many different modules in there, so many like weird cool modulations that you can do. It's kind of like a multi-effects plugin, and throwing that onto something like a pad, you can get like a really cool rhythm out of it or something cool. So I think it's a really nice kind of creative as well as like bread and butter sidechain plugin. That's pretty cheap, only £79. I think the Fabfilter total plugin bundle is still pretty expensive. Like I would struggle to part with £577, but given that I use it in every single project, that's still worth it for me. Okay, so the next up is the Soundtoys Bundle. So if you've ever watched me work, you'll very often see me use a plugin called Echo Boy. Decapitator gets used a lot, and I also seldomly go to some other their plugins like I use like Phase Mistress, Pan Man sometimes, Primal Tap, Radiator, Microshift. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Crystallizer is one that I use a lot. But yeah, I would not want to be without my Soundtoys bundle. So I definitely recommend checking that out. I'm sure you've heard from a bunch of other YouTubers about most of these bundles. I'm just recommending them once again because they're something that has just been a staple in all my productions. So yeah, on that note, the H9 plugin series from Eventide is another effects bundle that I use a lot, especially like the black hole reverb, and I love microshift, and also like the spring reverb is pretty cool, ultra tap. These are also just like plugins where you can kind of dive through presets, throwing them on whatever sound source you want, and you can come up with some like pretty unique sounds that I don't think you're getting from really any other plugin other than the Eventide stuff. Okay, so we're going to get to the plugin that I have bought and been testing, and I'm actually quite excited to show you because I think it's really cool. But let's first check out the last bundle that I'm going to recommend, and that's Komplete 15 Standard. I think Standard is sufficient. You're getting pretty much everything I use from here. You're getting Contact 8. You're getting Ozone 11. I use Ozone a lot as my mastering limiter. As well as you're getting some cool session percussion. You're getting the Play series. Yeah, there's a list of all the stuff here. So included products, we've got synthesizers. I don't really use too many synthesizers from Native Instruments. I use more like the Contact libraries. But there is some cool stuff here in the Play series that I've been checking out. What else have we got here? Yeah, acoustic pianos. There's the piano that I use. Every time I use a piano, it's this one. In my opinion, it's still the best one out there. And we have got loads of just instruments, horns, strings. We've got Playbox, which is really cool for coming up with like cool chord progressions and stuff. yeah, just tons of stuff. Vocal Synth 2 is one I've been using a lot recently, and like anytime I'm using vocals in tracks, I dive through Vocal Synth presets and usually find something that sounds pretty cool. So I mean, what you're paying for this and getting all of that, I think it's well worth it. Okay, so final plugin is Snapback. So this is the only plugin I ended up buying. I kind of looked at all the other recommendation videos. Nothing really was grabbing my attention, except this. When I read about it, it does what I pretty much do in any project anyway, but it makes it so much easier and less cumbersome to do, and the result that you want is much easier to achieve with this plugin. So this is made by Cable, guys, and I'm going to quickly show you an example. So what it is basically like a two-stage transient layering plugin. You've got two stages here. You've got the snapback and the transient, and the snapback is kind of like the pre-sound before a drum transient, whereas the transient is the sound that layers over the top of the drum. And let me just show you what we're working with here. So I'm going to turn off the snapback. I have it here on the claps. And we're working with some drums here. This is all the drums are from the Organic House Essentials pack. And this is the drum groove that I've made. So the drums. Okay, so what I would usually do is, like, let's say with my kick, if we solo the kick is kind of clean and I want to have like a little bit of dirt layered over it. I also really like it when drums have like a little bit of like a pre-sweep sound to them. And that's where the snapback thing comes in. So I'm just going to turn off the transient here and I'm going to turn on snapback. And what we've done here is loaded up a sample. There's like a whole bunch of different samples you can choose from. And I'm going to turn it off, and then you can see it detects all the kick drums and it's triggering the samples by audio. We turn on snapback. Now we've got this little pre-sweep sound. And it's just adding a little something to the track, to the kick, to make it sound cool. And in context, it really like adds to like the character of the kick drum. So without it, it's just a clean kick drum, like nothing special. And you can adjust like the attack here. And just flick through different presets until you find something that you like. I love that you can just so easily flick through sounds like this. I mean, before, you can see I actually did it with this track here, is I layered in a different kick and used it as like a pre-sweep already. So it's that kind of tiny little portion there. Now, if I wanted to go and try a different pre-sweep sound, I would have to drag them in one by one and fiddle with them. I couldn't easily adjust the attack, the decay, the pitch. It's quite a long process. This is just so quick. I'm able to flick through them and just find something that sounds really cool. And here we can even like EQ this. I can high pass it. This sample itself, I think, has quite a lot of like mid-range, low, and also lows in it. You can hear it. So like, let's say I took out, I just want like the crunchiness of it. You can perfectly design it. So that's the snapback part of it, and that sounds great on your kick drum, but I mean, like, it's also really nice to have on claps. So this is my clap here. And this is the Snapback plugin over here. And I've loaded in this little bright clap pre-sweep and the transient. So this is the pre-sweep. And then without it, with kind of it actually makes the clap cut through the mix a bit more. So yeah, it sounds really cool. And then the transient phase, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's just you're layering a sound on directly on top of the kick drum or the clap and making it sound cool. So this, on the kick drum here, I've added this sound. It's like just a bit of noise. And in context, I think it just adds a nice bit of like wispiness to the kick and almost like makes the high end feel a bit more consistent in the track. The clap, I found this really cool sample. Let me just solo it. This click fest. You can hear there's just like a bunch of little transients in it. And I just added some decay. And I think that you can hear that quite nicely in the context of it. So it adds like that nice bit of crunch. So yeah, it's great. There's so many like samples that it comes with, and you can even load in your own samples, like if you wanted to. You know, if you made a bunch of Foley, you recorded some stuff in your kitchen, you could like drag it in there and get super creative with this. Okay, so that's the end of the Black Friday video. Yeah, if you end up buying Snapback or any of the plugins I recommended, let me know what you think of them. If you have any cool recommendations, feel free to drop them in the comments. Maybe I missed something like completely mind-blowing. I'd like to know about it. And yeah, if you purchase anything on Basic Waves, thank you so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the products. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.